Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming to another video. All right, so I'm giggling like an idiot because I'm happy that blessings are coming um, in my way. I don't like saying that because, like, oh, I'm getting blessings, feel happy for me. But no, this is a good thing. So you guys have been following my T-Mobile situation. For the most part, I've been making therapy sessions about it for the last 6 months. Metro, PCS, T-Mobile, all of that. Cell phone issues and financial issues. Everything's been bad, pretty much. No help from the government in regards to my situation. The stock market is bleeding dry, and I've been picking from it left and right, trying to keep myself together while not working. So, needless to say, broke as hell. Not looking good around here. But so the T-Mobile, the Metro situation, essentially Metro. I had bought the $300 plan to take care of all of my T-Mobile cell phone bills for the year, because of course when the bills are they're extracting left and right, T-Mobile has gotten to a point where they hound you left and right and put extra fees on top of extra fees on top of extra fees with the extra fees on top of the extra fees. As I've tried to keep and catch up, and they've just been barreling on me with cutting my phone off every 2 weeks, forcing me to agree to plans that tack on more late fees, that furthermore late fees that have late fees on top of those late fees. So it's just at a point where it's like, all right, I'm spending almost $200 a month on a phone that's only supposed to be worth about 80 a month. I about 6 months ago, during the time when I did all of this, trying to get out from under T-Mobile and get over to Metro, I bought my phone, right? I literally dropped like $1,000 on this thing just to get out from under those guys, and still can't get out from under them. So it was a situation where that day, I don't know how they managed to do this, and I didn't find this out until today, but they charged me twice for the plan that I purchased for the year. So they didn't take $300 from my account; they took $6, and I didn't notice it because I was spending so much money on other stuff. I don't know how the hell I didn't notice that, and I'm not certain they actually did it, but they're convinced they did. They're convinced they charged me twice. So this is one of those situations where it's like, all right, I've waited a month and a half for them to send me what they needed to send me in regards to Metro PCS. Two different companies doing two different things, but Metro PCS didn't send me the right SIM card or whatever. Something went wrong. I think it was one of those situations where I tried to put the SIM card in the phone without it being unlocked, and it just fritzed the damn SIM card. I think that was honestly one of those things where they just should have told me that other things needed to be done before putting the SIM card in. And I'm a layman, I didn't know that. So it was one of those situations where it's like, all right, they had to send me another SIM card, but it was already paid for, so it wasn't going to be no cost to me to get it resent out. They refused to send it out. Not necessarily refused to, but they just forgot to or whatever. It just didn't get sent. The replacement one never came. So I wait like 2 months, because the way my mind works is I addressed it. I don't want to call nobody about this stuff. I have to rev myself up to make these phone calls. It's like I don't, on a regular day, I don't have the temperament to sit there and do these things. So it's like, all right, I didn't call back to see what was going on. I was just very patient, and I figured, hey man, they will get around to it. In the meantime, T-Mobile is doing what they're doing, charging me $200 and $400 on top of what the regular bill is for late charges. And mind you, this is like 2 and 3 months after I spent all that damn money just to get from out from under, and I'm still getting buried even worse. So it just became a situation where it was like, all right. I woke up this morning, and here we are reaching another day where T-Mobile's talking about they're going to cut me off because they didn't get the transaction they were necessary, and therefore I need to go into their app and create another transaction that's going to cost more late fees. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I called them a few nights ago, talked to a lady who waived a whole $30 off of the late fees, right? And so I'm like, all I got to do is just keep calling these idiots and make them stay on the phone for an hour, and eventually they'll come back around and snatch enough money from me. So that's what I ended up doing. I got on the phone today, with one of the T-Mobile representatives, did a little song and dance, and they were able to take off $50. He probably would have took even more off over there if I would have did more song and dancing, but that was the only amount of mental bullcrap that I was willing to do with them today. And since I was in the mode, get on the phone with one of those guys, like, all right, let's do this. I ain't got no anxiety. Let's do another one. So I called Metro. And Metro's, obviously hit me with the, hey, we charged you twice. But it was one of those situations where the guy on the phone he was real thorough, man. I like the fact that he was able to communicate, but he didn't speak English well. So I think he sensed I was getting more irritated than I actually was based on certain words I was using and my tone, which kind of be a little much at times anyway. But we were able to communicate very well, get it done. And turns out they're going to be able to refund me all of the money. Now, mind you, I did not know that they had charged me twice. So I'm only looking to get what I was owed. But they were adamant that they had received 2 payments. So I'm like, all right, well, give me, let's refund me all of my money. So that's essentially what they're going to do. They're going to give me every bit of the money. And that's not even, you know what I mean? That's not even something I can take lightly, because obviously what I'm going through at this moment, at this exact moment, which is like rock bottom financially, without asking people for help. And when I pray, you know me, if you follow me enough, you know, I'm praying, like, Lord, help me, show me what I need to do. And my thing was this morning, my exact vibes this morning when I prayed to my innermost, it was like, all right, well, the only thing I really am compelled to do is to wake up in the morning, stretch super hard, lift super hard. I'm telling you the truth. Do all the shower stuff, eat breakfast, and get back in bed. That's all I had the energy to do. I lifted hard as hell. I did probably over 110, 120 squats with the 60-pound weights. I was 30-pound weights to come to 60. So that's a lot for my little body. I'm like 165 pounds. That's a lot of weight for me. So I'm doing all these squats. I'm doing push-ups. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I work all the way out for about 30 minutes. I push a hard workout. Eat breakfast, get back in bed. And I'm like praying. And I'm like, Lord, this is the exact opposite of the person I'm trying to be. I don't want to sleep in the daytime. I don't want to do none of this. But essentially what came to my spirit was, I'm not asking you to abandon what you've been doing. I'm just asking you to work the sequence of what it is that I'm asking you to do. Unorthodox as it is, which everything he's asked me to do over the last year has been unorthodox. But if you do it the way he wants you to do it, you'll receive yourself having a blessing on the other end of it. So that's what I'm telling myself as I'm sitting here praying, laying down, hating the fact that I'm laying down, because I'm like, I need to get up and be doing all kinds of other stuff. But it was like, no, it's not about you doing all the stuff that you think you need to do in your head. It's about you praying to me and aligning with exactly I want you to do for the time that I have you alive to be. And that is what I'm coming to understand for myself. And that ain't what everybody else is on. But that's just how my walk is. My body and my mind and my spirit moves a certain way. And when I go against that, it usually leads me to the wrong things. Even if those ways are conventional to the ways of what should be in the world. 2 + 2 = 4. Essentially what I'm telling you is sometimes if I'm putting 2 and 2 together, I feel like I'm going to get 3. But if I put 2 and 1 together, I might get 4. And it doesn't make any sense, but it's how the Lord has created me to equate the world around me and how I move. And because of it, I find myself much happier in circumstances where I'm applying this faith in unorthodox ways that look ridiculous, and ultimately getting consequences that keep me close to the edge, but never actually falling off. But then absolutely finding myself in the right places at given moments in time in my life, to which if I would have did anything differently, I would not have been there. So this is one of those situations where I'm like, all right, Lord, you wanted me to get up, work out, lay down, pray to you. And then after doing so, I didn't fall asleep. Never fell asleep. I stayed in my little prayer zone, started thinking about my problems that I had to deal with, started thinking about the fact that it was the 20th while I was laying there, and then I proceeded to become frustrated about the fact that these fools are going to yet again snatch more money out of my account for this damn phone that makes up probably more than half of it is, late fees, not necessarily anything that's going to be providing me any service, but just them putting money on there that otherwise they would snatch off if I just give them a call, right? That notion pissed me off enough to override my anxiety for not calling them, to override my feeling about laying down, feeling frustrated about not getting up and doing anything. And that mindset propelled me into a space where I made both phone calls and found myself basically $300 richer on top of the $350 I was due, based on the $50 late fees that they waived and the $600 refund that's coming from what I think is honestly only $300 worth of transaction, because I don't know how the hell they could get through $600 out of my account that day without me noticing it. I don't think so. I'm almost certain that they made a mistake and they're about to give me $300 that I do not need. to be getting back from them, but definitely do need nevertheless because I'm broke. So it's one of them situations where I'm like, look, I know if I would have did things any differently, the conventional way as to which I probably would have got up, did a little more working out, maybe sat over here, did some art, maybe did an art playlist thing, just like I always do, or even better, apply for a job, do all kinds of different stuff that didn't go along with what I feel naturally feeling like doing, right? But would have ultimately been more so a production of what helped my situation, right? So obviously that's what I need to be doing in conventional ways. But what I'm telling you is the Lord's not compelling me to do things conventionally. He's compelling me to do things unconventionally. And as a result, I found myself in the mindset to do something that made me what I needed to make, as opposed to whatever it is I would have been doing that wouldn't have led me to making those phone calls at all. And that's what I know. And this is the point. It's like, while I don't think I should be the person giving people advice on how to maneuver through the world based on how I'm watching, how they should watch me or what have you, you don't want to do what I'm doing. But what I'm telling you is there is some truth to doing what comes naturally to you, is what I'm saying. That being what's best for you. If you're doing it in the right spirit, and that's key. If you're doing it in the right spirit, for me, it's just believing in God, believing in the source that created me, and listening and trying to be in tune with Him, and being intent on keeping those standards, even if it's something against what I want. That's the toll for what it is that should be otherwise the ability to move the way that I'm moving and get blessings coming out of it and get things to fall into place coming out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, you may not see that as a blessing. You may see that as them making a mistake. You may see them as me being an idiot and not realizing they overcharged me. You may see that as a lot of different ways, but what I'm telling you is, based on the story that's being, not story, that's the wrong way of putting it, but based on the life I've been living since the beginning of time, the path that I've been walking this whole time, this type of day is yet another reaffirmation that the path I'm on is a little different than a lot of the paths that I've been exposed to with other people's lives. You know, for your life, you apply things this way, it ain't gonna give you this result. But what I'm telling you is, I've always had a spiritual energy about me that has felt a certain way. I've always been at a certain space to where I've seen the world a certain way based on the experiences I've had. I've always been in a space where I've felt things spiritually, you know what I mean? And kind of compelled me to stay away from stuff that I was told to do by people who claim, you know what I mean, to have my best interest at heart. And when I stayed away from those folks, I ultimately watched things go a certain way, and I watched myself stay out of it. So it's like, when it makes sense, when it all reaches ahead, and when it all goes where it's supposed to go, when this thing is all over with, I'm pretty sure it all will have made a sense if I would have stayed on the path that I'm on right now, which stays close to the Lord and then does things that comes naturally to me, regardless of what the influence of the world is. You know what I mean? So this is what ends up happening to me. I take on this ape a mission that I've been on for the last 2 years, and money falls out of the sky, like quite literally. And if you watch enough of these therapy sessions, you're gonna see the documented proof of all of it. And this is just yet another one of them things where you're like, oh yeah, that's how it goes for him. And if you talk to some of my old friends, people who've known me since I was a child, stuff like that was going on when I was a kid too. That's how it goes for him. It's like I get a lot of favor, but at the same time, my mind is hell. So even when the favor is coming, it's like I'm dealing with pain, I'm dealing with structure issues, I'm dealing with old bad habits based on these various different things that I've created for myself in coping with my own existence. So it's like, yeah, I can be getting favor, this, that, and the third. I can be receiving all these blessings, but I'm not going to perceive it as a blessing unless I'm living right, unless I'm engaging in energy that falls into place to what it is that I'm telling you feels right, so to speak. So it's like, that's why I was listening to the man today. We were talking about the situation. He was like, as he was sensed, I was starting to get frustrated, even though I didn't feel like I was. In that little moment, he was trying to explain to me, he was like, yo, this isn't a normal conversation, because usually people go crazy over $100 refunds, $90 refunds. This is why I'm speaking to you this way, because I know when it's this much money on the line, you got to de-escalate situations before it even gets to a point where people are screaming, because if it does, it could turn into a lawsuit with this amount of money. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, if you knew who you were talking to and the way that my mind works, that would be the least of your concerns right now. I'm more so taking from the fruit of what it is that we're engaging in the conversation based on how he was willing to articulate his entire breakdown of what he was doing. I had never seen nobody do that. Never. And you could tell that he was someone who had probably dealt with a lot of people who had asked him to explain what the hell he's doing, like while they're waiting. And so he was saying, oh, I'm doing this. And so I'm just fascinated at his patience with explaining himself to me. And then I realized it's because people put so much emphasis on money, certain amounts of money. $600 refund is a big deal to their company. And for me, I'm like, bro, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not wired right. I'm not, when it comes to money, $600, I mean, I can only go as far as I've ever had, but I just don't value money the way I'm supposed to, apparently, as it pertains to it having an importance in regards to who I'm talking to and how I speak to them. Hell no. No, I was more so taking from the conversation, because essentially what he was trying to explain to me was, when we first got on the phone, he was asking me for a 4-digit PIN. A 4-digit PIN that I didn't think I had created, I didn't remember I had. So I gave him a PIN that I usually use for everything else, and it wasn't that. And so when we finally ended up getting to the nitty gritty of what the PIN was, it turned out I had created a PIN. It was just another version. It was a different thing. And what he was trying to explain to me was, we got to this point because we had a breakdown in communication. And from that communication, we came up with a solution. Now, obviously you want things to go quicker, but because we have a system here that makes me reset everything if we don't go through it the proper way, it's very important we go through it the proper way, even if it's irritating to both of us. So I'm sitting there fascinated by how he's explaining all this to me as a customer. And so I'm like, yo, that's a nugget I can take. Because if I was on his end, I wouldn't want to be explaining all of this. I would probably shorten my tone, and I would probably try to de-escalate it a different way that wouldn't make me, the customer, feel as informed as he's making me feel right now. So I'm like, yo, this is valuable. This is valuable in how you handle people in customer service situations. Even though I have no interest in ever doing customer service again, I still have interest in being able to engage with people who may be involved in customer service situations on this channel. So this is why I take little nuggets of wisdom everywhere I go. That man displayed a certain level of patience that I am looking for. A patience and a temperament that I don't have, based on my anxieties and all these different things that go on in my head, being as jittery as I am, being as pair-minded as I like to call it as I am, looking for different things that pair to one another. So it's like I tend not to have the energy that makes people more comfortable, that makes it so that you can be explained to, that makes you feel disarmed from being tense in my presence. And so it's like, yo, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that. That's wisdom. That's a weakness of mine. He can help me communicate with somebody to make it so that some of that breakdown is not there between myself and those other people. So while I'm getting a blessing in the form of a certain amount of money that I feel I didn't actually pay for, that part was like secondary to the wisdom I was taking from the conversation and the patience and the rhythm of being in communication with someone, as to which, if you follow me closely, I don't talk to people. I don't be in communication with people. I don't leave this house. And when I do, if I'm talking to anybody, it's usually going to be through this phone on this channel. And so that's an important thing for me. So as you guys can see, this has been a big day in regards to the little things that I'm paying attention to in regards to myself, my finances, my patience level, my temperament, my seeking of knowledge and context, my seeking of understanding people of different countries and languages, which is another thing. Him helping me understand that he didn't understand, right? But once he realized that I was on the same page with him, then we really understood. And see, that's a metaphor for how we operate in regards to some of the other things that we talk about on this channel. It's like, yo, we can break down some of these miscommunications that are put in place by the so-called middleman, the people behind the curtain, who want us to interpret people as evil when they're not really evil, or just confused, or want us to interpret people as disingenuous when they're really just confused. In a lot of cases, we don't have to read energy improperly. It just takes the right amount of patience, the right words, and the best tone to help people understand exactly what is missing in the energy. And so that's what his communication with me reiterated. That understanding, that formula of truth. And I value that. I value that greatly. It'll help me communicate with people all different walks of life and all different types of people. My children, if I ever have kids someday, allow me to communicate better with them, to be able to simplify things. You know, I found myself after him communicating that to me, explaining to him the meaning of certain words that I was using, which is important because I'm a person who uses a lot of big words, or words that I perceive as big, and a person who doesn't speak my language, who may be 10 times more smart than me, may not know what the heck I'm saying when I use certain words, and may be offended by the fact that I keep using those words without explaining what they are. So it's like these little nuggets, they can help me be a better communicator. So it's like, look, while y'all over here looking for money, money's great, man. I promise money is wonderful. But as you can see, even when I don't have any money, when it's time to get money, I ain't valuing money. But money don't help me like I know it. These nuggets can help me. These nuggets can get me in a situation where I can negotiate a $5,000 deal, $5 million deal, $5 billion deal. With these nuggets of communication and patience and understanding, that can allow me to use the formulas of other situations that can give me 20, 30, 40,000 times more money. So it's like, these are the things that help you get the friends that you need. It's not what you know, it's who you know. How do you know who you need to know? Well, by networking. And how do you get comfortable in networking? Well, I'd imagine it's somewhere in here. And communicating and being willing to listen and making your energy a little easier to be around and all the different things. So it's like, yo, that is what it's about. That's what it's all about, man. And if the Lord wants to give me some resources in the process, cool, we can eat and discuss what we've learned together. Because that's really all the resources are for, man. A lot of the other stuff is just propaganda and bullcrap. Oh, give me a diamond. For what? What do I need the diamonds for? These diamonds ain't gonna do nothing but keep me from being able to have the communication that I need to have with certain people that would otherwise give me these nuggets I'm looking for. Wisdom nuggets. I don't need that stuff, bro. Your diamonds are gonna keep me from having those conversations. I don't want them. I don't want them. Put them on a dog. Literally. And that's how I think, bro. Y'all be looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with that black man? Because I don't value some of the stuff these people value, man. Don't matter to me at all. Because I know I can't take it nowhere. I can't do nothing with it. I can't pass it to my children. If not to sell something so that they can buy something. That's not going to make them any richer. Not going to give them any more nuggets of wisdom or anything that's going to help them communicate or have the respect that they're looking for in life. Or none of that. None of it. Give them the name that they're looking for. Have them be in touch with others in terms of when you market to them. Are you in touch or are you just out of touch? Are you talking at people or are you speaking with them? This is what these nuggets help you with that. So yeah, y'all can, keep on worshiping money if it makes you feel better, but it ain't gonna make you no smarter. It ain't gonna make you no spiritually better. It ain't gonna help you understand the importance of continuing to seek out these nuggets. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm here to do, man. Help y'all see what it is that I want. Help me, I'm asking the Lord to help me want the right things. And when I get blessings like this, monetary blessings, I don't sit up here and thank the Lord for the monetary blessing. That's a side. You understand what I'm saying? The truth, the real meal was in the nuggets. And the money was just the tip on the side. It's the truth. And no matter how much that money is, same thing. Same thing. And if we learn to love it like that, we can't be used by those who want us to love it like that. That's the point. Do I like luxury? Yes. I love luxury. I don't know it, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? I want all the Maybachs, all the Lamborghinis, every Jordan ever made. I want it all. I do. But what does it do for me after I get tired of it? I look at old pictures of Lamborghinis that have been run down after a flood or something like that. You see it in somebody's garage. When the garage has been torn through, the Lamborghini is still a $200,000 car, but it's a $200,000 car that looks like it's haunted. When you see enough of that in your life, you don't care that stuff no more. It's like, that stuff looks good until it don't no more. I want it until I'm tired of it. Then what does it do? It's a representation of status. Status can be taken from me at any moment. I don't. It does a lot for me based on my taste. But does it pertain to how I think of myself? Or what I'm shooting for in the world? Or whether or not I value these nuggets? Or whether or not I understand that while I'm driving around in that car, I could take the value of that car and feed a village of people who really, really need some food right now? Like, those things are never going to be lost upon me. I'm still looking for these nuggets. I'm still looking for wisdom. If I'm in that Maybach, where am I going? Where am I going? You see what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. Am I going somewhere to do something good? Am I going somewhere to do something bad? Am I doing something to self-exalt myself? Am I taking my kids somewhere? What are we doing in the car? You know what I mean? And I look at a lot of people who value these things, but they're not happy. They're miserable. Or they're still looking for nuggets. When they get blessings, they look at those blessings as if, okay, the side is actual blessing. No, that ain't the blessing, fam. Look around it. Look what God is really doing for you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I speak the way that I do. Now, because I think this way, I feel like I got things to hand people who have much more than me. Much more. I'll be talking to people in this camera that I think have access to things that I never want. It's more than I want. Why? Because I know that the secret that we're not supposed to know is that the class system is bullcrap. That it makes up nothing. When I look at human beings who are richer, do you know what I see? Bodies. Flesh. Just like me. Just dressed up more nice. Anthony Davis, I was looking at him yesterday. He had on a fly velour suit. The thing probably was out of this world expensive. I don't doubt that he had on the real stuff because he's got $500 million in his account. But you know what I saw when I looked at his velour suit? The exact same velour suits I see in downtown that dudes be buying for $3 and $4. I know no difference. I know no difference because I grew up in a world where all velour is knockoff. All of it. Like everything you see that's that suede-ish kind of material, it's never real. It's 100% never ever real. So when I see the real thing, it still looks like a knockoff. It's conditioning of the mind. It only holds value because we tell ourselves it holds value. It only truly holds value if it can keep them warm in the cold. See, that's the reality of what it is. A lot of the stuff is taste and it's art, it's good, but if it don't do nothing to keep him warm, it's trash. You talk about his Kobe shoes. He loves wearing Kobe's, but if he's rolling his ankle in them every time, so what is it good for? You know what I'm saying? So it gets to a point where it's like, all right, listening to people talk about footwear, and situations of that nature. I mean, that's relevant. We got to take care of our feet. It can't just be about style. It just can't be about the side. It has to be about the nuggets too. See how all that correlates? That's all my brain does, y'all. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I just wanted everybody to get a load of the blessing that came my way in a time where I really needed money. I got a couple bucks come my way, and I don't care about the money. As it comes, thank you. But I was more so thankful that the Lord showed me an example of how to further better communicate. That's a nugget. I can keep that. The money spent. T-Mobile gonna take that money fast. The other half of it probably going to weed. I don't even get to keep it that long. Seriously. It's like the Lord knows what I need in regards to my money, but he also knows what money represents to me. It represents an opportunity to fix a problem. That's what it does. In most situations, that's what it does. In my life right now, a problem is the stock market and the corruption that takes place within it. And the fact that people like myself who have more, who have less, are throwing their money in that stuff, hoping for the best, and they're getting screwed. And there are people there who know what it is, and they ain't doing nothing about it. That's what money represents to me. An opportunity to fix that. That's what it does. That's it. Everything else we have. We have everything we need. We do not need to exchange money for a goddamn thing. Nothing. This is a practice that doesn't even need to take place anymore. It doesn't. We're just doing it. They prove to us that this doesn't need to happen anymore, and they're acting like they didn't prove it. When they sent out blank checks, or basically blank checks after the pandemic, and sent everybody as much money as they needed to get through the month, that helped me understand that the money system isn't real. As if I didn't already know that before that, because I did. But now you can just, anytime you want to send checks to anybody, just send them out. Just send them out. What's the problem? Why do I need to work for a single coin if you guys are printing money that don't even represent gold anymore? It doesn't even represent gold. The gold has been gone. Where's the gold? You're not printing money. And you know I know it. So why the hell am I going out there working my ass off for it? Make it make sense. You will never make it make sense. You're just going to tell everybody to go along with it. And this brain doesn't do that. This spirit doesn't do that. So I'm going to keep on collecting my nuggets, and the Lord's going to keep on dropping money in my pocket until he's tired of it. Then he's going to send me on home. That's how that's going to go. But I will not assimilate to y'all bullcrap games. It's going to keep wars reinforced throughout our children for over decades and generations and centuries at a time. Y'all just going to reinforce and parlay them the same relay you were given. You know? Picture you running, your ancestors were running, they handed you some bull crap, you snatched it out of their hand, and you just keeping it going. And you're going to pass it to your kids, and they're going to keep it going. And I'm not with it. I'm taking that thing they gave me, and I'm burning it. You understand what I'm saying? Some of that crap that y'all carrying forth, some of these practices of worshiping money and worshiping self and worshiping all this and letting people exploit you while you pretend you don't see it. Thanks, Grandpa. I'm taking that, I'm throwing it on the ground. I'm stomping on it. Salute. We're doing something new now. That's how I feel. We don't let these people control our time. We only get a certain amount of time. And the one thing that's certain is death. Literally that. That's the only thing you're getting for sure is death. You're going straight toward that. Everything else in between that, it can go a lot of different ways. But at the end, it's gone. And so if I know that's the certainty, they can't use that against me. The certainty of death against me? Please, man. I fear life more than that, bro. It's more uncertainty in life. So with that being said, we got to use our voices the way we can to assure that everybody who's ultimately going to face death at some point gets a chance at a good life. One that doesn't have us reaching for the wrong stuff for the wrong reasons, while the people who know what stuff we should be reaching for keeps that understanding from us. It's over. The nuggets matter. Your relationship with God matters. The money, it'll come. It'll go. It'll come and it'll go. It'll come and it'll go. It'll come and it'll go. Depending on where you're at in your life, it'll never come. It'll never go for some of y'all. But the point is, the reason why that is because there are a lot of people who want to take the relay from the grandparents who were making sure some got the money and others didn't, and want to keep that crap going. No, not me. Not at all. I'm taking the little money that I have and I'm putting it in a place where I know it's going to do something different and make those who have been doing this take a look in a mirror. That's what I'm doing. And I'm getting help. There's millions of people helping me do it too. I ain't alone. And so this is what we're doing. This is what this generation is about. They want to take our generation. They want to dispose of it. They want to have companies like T-Mobile play mind games with us when what we got to do is call them to keep them from taxing on extra money. But if you don't call them, they're going to tax you on even extra money. Y'all keep playing around like this is sanity. Like that's a world where the agreements in that bullcrap world is the sane world. That ain't sane. You guys are manipulated, and I'm not rolling. So that's what it is. And I will use my voice to document every bit of my walk. And I'm going to win too. Because I'm right. That's what it really comes down to. I'm right. None of us, not a single American soul, should be paying a single dollar of taxes anymore. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. That's a practice that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you can say whatever you want about whatever you want, but at the end of the day, they printing money. Printing it. The next pandemic comes around, you know what they're going to do? They're going to print more too. And if the next one comes around, they're going to print more. They're going to keep scratching their head saying, I don't know how we're able to do this, but we're just able to do this. I know how you're able to do this. You've been cheating the game the whole time. So, I don't want to play. At all. I never did. And that's where I'm at with it, man. My name is BDF 44. That is my 200th therapy session. Thank you for watching.